Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Empowered Rants, where you will hear me talk unscripted and uncensored. I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for the last several weeks. It's been basically on the forefront of my brain since the whole controversy surrounding Cuties on Netflix came out. Now, for those that are living under a rock and those that might not be aware of what it is, Cuties is a show on Netflix where you see a bunch of 11 and 12-year-old girls twerking their booties and basically doing a lot of explicit things in front of a camera. It's very disgusting, and frankly, I think that show should be boycotted and Netflix should have never aired that. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. Now, for those of us in the Red Pill and Manosphere areas, our content creator put out a video not too long ago. Think Before You Sleep. He did a show about toddlers and tiaras, and check it out. He makes very good content. And in the video, he's talking about toddlers and tiaras. And for those that are not aware of what that show is, it was a show in the South where moms would be putting their 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old daughters inside beauty pageants, making them shake their booties in front of the judges, wear immodest clothes, 2 pieces for the swimsuit competition. Basically, everything you would see in a regular beauty pageant for adults, for young adult women, was basically done for toddler girls. Now, the whole thing really, it's way worse than toddlers and tiaras is way fucking worse than Cuties. That's not an opinion, that's a matter of fact. I've never seen either TV show, but I have done enough research to know what I'm talking about. As you know, we all live in a society now where people are starting to see how far down the rabbit hole goes in terms of pedophilia and child exploitation. Now, if some southern bitch mom comes across this video and gets pissed off at me for saying the truth, I really don't give a fuck, because the truth has to be said. When these mothers are out there putting their daughters in these types of competitions, they are pimping out their daughters. Yes, I will say it again. They are pimping out their daughters. And it's a very disturbing thing to watch moms have to do this. It's very dysfunctional. And I'm sure there are some dads out there that are behind this, but I don't think that really any prudent dad would want his daughter being in such a competition where she is being exploited and pimped out like that, especially with so many pedophiles among us. You never know what kind of a creep is out there looking at these, innocent little girls. You just never know. And there are a lot of creeps out there. There's a lot of evil men out there and evil women that prey on young children. And when they put this kind of thing on there, when they do this to their daughters, it's putting a target on their back, and it's causing them to want to show up and probably select a target. That's really what it is. I mean, it's child exploitation. It's fucking disgusting. It's fucking gross. It's fucking child exploitation. It should be banned across the board. Okay, it's disgusting. I don't care. You're not going to spin it. You're not going to win this one with me. I think it's disgusting. I think it's gross. And I think it should be banned everywhere from coast to coast in all 50 states. Okay, it should not even be allowed to even rear its ugly head ever again. And I think any mother that does this to their daughter and father should automatically be arrested and charged with child exploitation and endangerment. Pedophiles are the worst of the worst. And I think all pedophiles should be given the death penalty, no questions asked, when they are found guilty and gone through due process in a court of law. Because there are some parents out there that accuse another of child molestation when that never happened. There are cases of that happening, yes. Sometimes people lie. That's why I believe in due process. But anyway, the whole issue with I just kind of laughed, because the whole issue with this whole Cuties thing, how many of those people were out there turning a blind eye to all the decades upon decades of child beauty pageants, and all the subtle exploitation that was going on in front of them? How many people out there saw this shit go on for decades, but there was no calls to boycott? There were no calls to ban. I don't recall any parents, any moms or dads coming together to try to get this kind of thing outlawed. Now, I could be wrong. If I am, I'll eat my words. But I spend a lot of time on the internet when I'm not at school or at work. And I think this whole issue is something that needs to be discussed because it's very disgusting. You know, and from what I hear, this kind of thing has been around for a very long time. So, to all the people out there that think toddlers and tiaras are cute, not all, but to the people out there that think it's cute, it's adorable, but are, you know, and are now suddenly outraged about the whole thing on with Netflix and cuties, to you I just say go fuck yourself, because that's a major double standard. Toddlers and tiaras is by far worse than cuties. You know, they want to ban cuties and they're boycotting Netflix, which I do support their decision on that, don't get me wrong. But Toddlers and Tiaras was allowed to be on TLC for 7 years straight, from 2009 to 2016. That's 7 years straight. And I don't recall anyone boycotting TLC for that. I don't recall any outrage from parents saying how dangerous this is. I'm sure there are some, but I haven't seen anybody mobilize to the degree that they are with Netflix and the show Cuties on there. I have not seen anything remotely close to that. Now, like I said, I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, but the whole issue with cuties and then them turning a blind eye to toddlers, it's just mind-boggling how the fact that both sides are guilty of this. And, you know, they'll say, oh, it's just some kind of liberal agenda carrying this out with states like California, you know, trying to lower the age of consent laws, or trying to have linear sentences for pedophiles, or trying to change the definition from pedophile to minor attracted persons. You know, that's bullshit and disgusting too. But child beauty pageants have been a staple of Southern conservative Christian culture. You know, I'm sure there are verses in the Bible that talk about how it's a sin to dress your daughters immodestly like this, especially ones that are so young. And never mind the fact that, you know, these parents out there take it to the extreme. They'll get spray tanning, Botox injections, stilettos. I mean, the science is right there. They'll make them eat fucking 500, 600 calorie diets a day. They'll make them crash diet when they're 4 or 5 years old. And anyone who knows anything about child development knows that that's a very dangerous thing to do, because a child's body is growing and it needs all the nutrients that it can get. You know, these parents that want to do this to their children, honestly, it's abuse. It is abuse. I don't care what you say. You know, but unfortunately, living in the society we do, all the selective outrage and all the selective argumentation, you know, I believe in being consistent across the board. That's why I'm calling it out for what it is. And that's why I think more people should stand up and call it out for what it is. There should be a larger mobilization to have this kind of thing outlawed. And the other thing, too, these beauty pageants, it's very toxic for the relationship of the mother-daughter. It's very toxic because the mother is basically torturing her child, you know, making them do all this ridiculous shit just so they can get some stupid plastic crown. It's very disgusting and it's very degrading, and quite frankly, I feel very sorry for these young girls that are going through this type of thing. It's wrong and it should never have happened in the first place. These are little kids for crying out loud. These are little kids, for fuck's sakes. They should be out playing. They should be out running around. They should be out getting into trouble, getting their knees scraped. You know, when I was a kid growing up, that's what we did. We played around, we had fun, but they're not even allowed to establish normal, healthy friendships. And that type of thing is crucial for a young child's development, especially young girls, since they're a lot more social than guys are. I mean, you know, I say that because, you know, a woman is her friends. Women are a lot more sociable, and women, of course, dictate things according to Briffault's law, social conditions within the animal kingdom. Girls are a lot more sociable, and they need to be able to be with their friends. They need to establish relationships. They need to build lifelong skills. You think a fucking potential job is going to care about how many beauty pageants you won? No, they're not going to care about that. They'll think it's impressive, but if it doesn't meet the qualifications for the job, they're not getting the position. It's just that simple. There's the practical side of it, not just the moral side, but the fact that these mothers out there, and I'm sure even to a lesser extent the fathers, when they're doing this to their daughters, they're setting them up for total failure. They're ruining them, and it's very sad. And that's why I think, honestly, child pageants should be outlawed across the board. I don't think any a girl younger than the age of 18 should be allowed to compete. That, to me, should be the age of consent right there for children. No pageants under the age of 18. No exceptions, no discussions. I'll say it again. No pageants until they are the legal age of adulthood. 18. No exceptions, no discussions. It's really sad. And the other thing, too, is these mothers out there, they're pimping out their daughters. What they're doing is wrong. It's way wrong. If I was a dad, I would never even conceive of doing this to my daughter. I would want my daughter to have the happiest, healthiest relationship possible. I don't want her self-esteem being ruined. I don't want her to feel bad about herself. This type of stuff they learn at childhood will be ingrained with them for years to come, and it's going to put them through a lot of tough times. It's going to put them through a lot of tough issues that they shouldn't have to deal with. And it's really a sad thing what's going on. And, the other thing, too, this is going on in Southern conservative culture. Conservatives in the South, not all, but a lot are doing this. And they're just raising the next generation of strippers and hoes. It's dysfunctional, and they're breaking some of the commandments in the Bible. It's something that should not be allowed to ever exist again. Having them wear two pieces, having them wear stupid dresses, making them wear spray tan and makeup and Botox. They're too young for that. They don't know what that shit is. They need to be allowed to be children. They need to be allowed to grow up normally like children. That's what it is. Okay, they're not Barbie dolls. They're little human beings, flesh and blood. If you want them to dress up, buy them a Barbie set. Let them dress Barbie dolls the way normal little girls should be raised. I don't have any kids myself, and I don't plan to have kids, but I know a dysfunctional relationship when I see one, and it's quite disheartening to see this type of thing go on. And it's been going on for decades, but just now that they're finally pissed off about it, and just now are they finally wanting to mobilize and do something about it. Well, while you're at it, do the same thing for child pageants. Do the same thing so that way no child will ever be exploited, and they'll be protected. They'll be protected from disgusting pervert pedophiles. They'll be protected from them, and they will allow to grow and continue to have a happier, healthier life. They'll have a happier relationship with their friends, their boyfriends, their husbands, their fathers, and their cousins, and anyone else that they associate themselves with. It's really sad what's been allowed to happen, and I think honestly, the outrage toward cuties, which I can understand and I support, that outrage should also be extended to child beauty pageants for obvious reasons: moral, psychological, practical. It should be extended across the board, and I hope that this doesn't die out. I hope that this is something that is talked about more and more in the future, and I hope that people can come together and start thinking, yeah, you're right. This is really damaging to our children, and if we want to keep them safe, we need to stop these kind of activities, and we need to ban these pageants right away. That's all I got now, with more to come.